Guys, welcome back to Crossroad Garage. I want to talk to you about rabbit holes on this video. Rabbit hole number one, front suspension. We're going to get into that in just a second. Had a company reach out to me. They tell me, hey, you know, we're going to send you out some stuff. We have this front rebuild bushing kit for your car, whatever. Hey, awesome, cool, send it to me. They sent it to me. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? So I'd already started taking the front suspension apart, as you can see here. Now what they sent me was a bunch of junk that I can't really use. Strut rod bushings I can use, and I'm not sure what else I can use. But my point being, it's a lot of work. Now when you're getting into getting these cars on the road from sitting for so long, and even just an old car, it's worn out, maintenance hasn't really been done on it, there's a lot of work that needs to go into it if you plan on driving the thing. This is the point we're at. I've got a box over here. Let's see what I got. So now these are all parts that I ordered myself because I had already dove into this project before the parts showed up from the company that promised me parts. The sway bar end links, had to order a pair of those. Mine, I went to turn the nut, and I mean, I barely gave it a crank. It broke right off. And as you can see, these bushings are just shot anyway. So we need to replace those, obviously. That's number one. Number two, what I get here? I got upper ball joints. Now my upper ball joints, as you can see, well, they're a little jacked up. So we got upper ball joints. That's number two on the list of what I had to buy so far for this front suspension. Now number three, I'm not sure if you can see in here. Let's take a look. But right here is where that sway bar end link goes into. Now it's been loose for so long that it's just bored out this huge hole. Now that's fine because you buy the entire A-arm. It's already pressed in there. You're good to go. It looks like it comes with bushings and everything. All you need to do is slap a nut in there. But as you can see, I have that big, gigantic hole worn out, wobbled out. Well, now I just got this. That's great. That's number three of our purchase. We got new, lower control arms. So, today I go to remove the strut rod. Right here. I go to remove the strut rod. Well, the front of it is so rusted that there's no threads left. The threads have completely rusted. I can't get the bolt off. So I just now placed an order for strut rods. Yeah, the tie rods, the inner and outer tie rods, I have loose right now. I have the new end links coming for those. And I was a little confused on those when I was going to order them. The problem being that I went to, I searched O'Reilly's and stuff, and they had the inner tie rod link. So I was like, well, they look the same. Are they the same? Well, no, because one's left-hand thread, one's right-hand thread. And I found that out, thanks to you guys on the Falcon page. And Melvin's Auto Parts popped in there and they said, hey, we can get you some. And I said, well, I need them by Saturday, which is today. And he said, not a problem. So cool. So I placed an order with him. Well, they're not showing up till Tuesday, which is fine at this point because now I got to wait on the strut rods anyway. But what I'm going to do is I've got the old slice and dice out somewhere around here. And I'm going to get as far as I can. I still need to get this lower ball joint and the A-arm off. I need to get the strut rod removed and pull the whole assembly out. And then I guess I can go ahead and do that on the other side as well. Now once I get the new A-arm in, I can go ahead and get just about everything bolted up except for the strut rod and the tie rods, because those are the parts I don't have. Does that make sense to you? So I'm gonna get busy on this. Where do I start? I don't even know where to start here. I'm just gonna get to cutting stuff, guys. I'm tired of sitting here thinking, and I'm tired of this rabbit hole that I've got myself into to try and get this thing. You know, and the problem is with these cars like this kind of stuff can get dangerous. You know, you got a car that's 60 years old, it's been off the road for 18 plus years, and now I'm like, hey, let's throw it on the road, let's take it for a drive, right? Well, you've seen I did the new shocks and everything, you know, worked on some suspension there, but this is where it's really important. The shocks are important, don't get me wrong, but this is what's holding your front end together, and this can cause you major problems going down the road, and it can be dangerous not only to you but to other motorists. So please don't just slap crap on the road, you know, and I'm guilty of that myself. I do it. So I got this tie rod out. You know, I whiz wheeled the ends of it off because you turn the nut, the whole thing was turning. But what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I just want to label this, because when we tear this apart, I want to check, I want to put this back exactly how it is, and that way I can try to get my alignment as close as possible right out the gate. And what you got to do is you got to remove this sleeve, and we're going to try to match up the length on them. You know what I'm saying? We're going to try and match them up. So I got this is a little tool that I use for this stuff. But yeah, I just get this. I got this at Harbor Freight. Guys, this comes off here violent. These are adjustable. You can just pull this out, move it up to the higher position, pop it back through. It's basically, it's like a pickle fork, but with a little assistance to it. Remember, guys, always use protection. You know what I'm saying? See, it's violent. Alright, so now we got that off. So now we have more room to work to get in here, get this A-arm off. Alright, so hopefully this will work. Let's find out. It's nice that one thing on the suspension is working properly. I spoke too soon though, I know I did. This was my plan all along, you know, was to slowly work on this car as I drive it. This is something that you know, it needs addressed. So I'm not too terrible mad that, you know, the company kind of screwed me over on parts, didn't send me exactly what I needed, and I had to invest the money into rebuilding this front end. Old A-arm out. Let's check that lower ball joint. That lower ball joint actually pretty tight in there. Alright guys, while I was in here and while I had this, you know, available to me, I went ahead and just hit her with a, you know, little cleanup action. You know, wire wheeled it a little bit and sprayed it with some of that chassis black. So we're gonna go ahead and get this A-arm installed. Now the torque specs on this are between 65 and 90. Alright, so that right there is 80. Sounds good to me. What about you guys? Alright. Right about there. Holy camole. Alright. She's torqued. So now we're going to throw this sway bar end link in there. And that'll help kind of hold it up a little bit for us. Now the torque specs on this sway bar end link was something like 12 to 17 or something ridiculous. So I'm honestly not too concerned. I'm just going to tighten it down. So we got the sway bar end link in. That's awesome. We're getting there. You know, the reassembly isn't nearly as bad as the disassembly. You know what I'm saying? So what do you throw? What do you say we throw the upper ball joint in? Now I gotta say I'm not a huge fan of this. It's got this nylon lock washer on the new one. It doesn't have a cotter key. I'm sure it'll be fine though. But got our new hardware here. So let's get this bad boy in there. I think we're really going to stiffen up the ride. These are all nylock also, so that's nice. These are non-greasable. That's just odd to me that these are non-greasable. But whatever, you know. And again, the torque settings on these, it's not even worth bothering with. Just tighten them up real good. A half a UGA. Don't throw the dugga in there, just a half a UGA. I think our problem is just that this spring is compressed, or not compressed, I should say. I'm wondering if I might want to put these ball joints over on this before I, you know, do that. I don't know. Let me set this up here and we'll see what we're dealing with. Oh my gosh, I'm going to clean the crap off here first, guys. This thing is nasty. Alright, give me a minute. Alright, so you know what, whatever. So anyway, I got this cleaned up fairly good. I'm going to try and save myself a little bit of a headache in the future, and I'm going to throw a little, because we are going to eventually do disc brakes on this. So I'm going to throw a little anti-seize on this, especially down around that collar. I don't know where we're going with this yet. If we decide to stick it up in there, we'll throw some anti-seize on it as well. Oh, that'll work fine. Yeah, it's going to line up fine, but I do think we should put this on here before we try to slide her up in there. Before you slide her up in there, you know what I'm saying? As far as the spindle goes, we're 35 to 65 on the torque specs. And these torque specs, I mean, that's a big difference, guys. 35 to 65. Just a dab will do ya. I'm tighten them both down just to tickle. You know, you got to turn the right way to get it to, you know, go in. Alright, now let's ooba dooba. Come on. Come on, baby. You know, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. So now we're going to give these their 35 to 65, was it? Yeah, 35 to 65. We'll probably settle on about 50. Once again, if I can see this thing. Actually, 50 is, man, that's pretty good. Right there. All right. So we got to hook up this, these tie rod ends when they come in. We got to hook up this strut rod bar when it comes in. I'm going to go ahead, really concerned. I have tape on this that came off, but I don't want to get dirt down in my brakes. So I'm going to hook those back up. You know what, guys? We gotta throw this cotter pin in. Why how come nobody reminded me of that? So we did get a new cotter pin with the with that lower A arm. I do have a whole cotter pin set. You can get a Harbor Freight. You can get a set. I got this set of 555 of them. I don't think they're expensive. I think they're under 10 bucks. They're probably not the best quality. Okay, so new cotter pin is installed. Upper, again, we don't have a cotter pin. We have this nylock, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just going to get this brake line tightened up, and we'll be done with this side, at least for now. I'll probably hit this with the wire wheel real quick, get all the grease and grime off that. All right, guys, so we are over here on the passenger side. I got everything out, and just hit it with a little bit of paint, after wire brushing it a little bit. It's not perfect by any means, but it doesn't need to be. Stage 1 build on this is getting it running, getting it driving, getting it handling properly, all that kind of fun stuff, working out the kinks, getting this thing to move down the road properly. This is a multi-year project. I mean, let's face it. I don't have the funds to stick $80,000 into this thing. However, stage 2 build is when we start looking at other stuff. We start most of the suspension components that we're putting on here are staying. But we will be looking at doing some nicer stuff as far as painting and stuff like that. Whatever, who cares? That's not the mission right this second. But there's a train. Anyway, I'm leaning on the door to the wheelies. We still got the wheelies. We got to get back on that at some point here. That's a, I like the fact that I moved it outside because I look out the window and I see it. I pull my car around back. I see it. I'm looking at it. It's piquing my interest again. I was starting to get to a point where I was like, this is so redundant and it's going to take forever. But now I can cruise around in this. I can start getting ideas flowing on that again, get my brain wrapped around it again, get excited about it again. I am going to finish this side up, as far as replacing that lower A arm, the sway bar end link, the ball joints, all that fun stuff, whatever I can finish up. Get this brake line hooked up because this side over here, it's really flowing on me. Then when those other parts come in, we'll slap those on, and I'll bring you back on that. Because there's no point in y'all sitting here watching me do what you just watched me did on the other did. You don't want to watch it again is what I'm getting at. Yeah, and by the way, if anybody out there is like, hey, your torque specs are wrong, which believe me, I know that once this thing is on the ground and we're sitting at ride height, we need to double check our torque specs. I understand that. We'll probably take it for a spin. We'll come back. We'll double check our torque specs. But the range is so wild that I don't think we're going to have any problems. Anyway, yeah. So if you're sitting there going, hey, those are not the proper torque specs. Look, I just got them off Google. All right, I pulled up a page from the parts catalog or the manual or whatever it was, the service manual for a Falcon, and that's what the torque specs told me. If I'm wrong, let me know. Drop me a link or something. Tell me where to go to find all this proper stuff, because there are so many people out there and so many opposing opinions on what the Falcon should be. And I've already argued over the year of this thing. I've argued over this. I've argued over that. Not argued, but I've had people tell me I'm wrong. And all I know is what I got a title for, And yeah, so we'll be back in a minute. And my rant's over right now. I got some food in the air fryer upstairs. So, y'all cool with that? So, it's time for Jeff's storytelling time. Grab a seat. So when I got into this front end rebuild, I was promised parts from a company that I'm not going to name. What they sent me, I don't even know what I was supposed to do with it. I cut that part, anything mentioning their name from this video. It was already in here, and I was like, front suspension needs rebuilt. I'm going to do it. So I started ordering parts. Well, you see where we're at now. Last time I was down here in the garage, 5 days ago, I posted something on Facebook in one of the Falcon groups and was asking about the inner and outer tie rods. Melvin's Ford, I don't know where they're at, Georgia, I think. I don't know. US somewhere. They said, hey, we've got inner and outer tie rods, the ones that you need for your 63 Falcon Futura. Okay, I'll take them. Well, I tell them, I'm like, you know, I'm in the middle of this video, I'm in the middle of this project. Is there any way you can get them to me by Saturday? They said, yeah, absolutely, not a problem. We will have those to you by Saturday. Go ahead and order them. Awesome. They had a good price on them, so I ain't complaining. But it's Wednesday, folks. I think it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. It's either Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know. It's not Saturday. I know that much. I'm not upset because the other company that promised me the strut rods by Saturday are now telling me Friday. The UPS tracking is now telling me Friday. They're talking Friday by 7, which means I'm going to be out here late Friday because I have a side job that I'm doing on Saturday. And then I got the cruise in Saturday night that I want to get this on the road for. I'd like to get it out, you know, and cruise it to the cruise in and hang out with the club. It's all gone to hell in a handbasket, folks. But we do have tie rods. Look at this. We've got 4 of them, inner and outer, 2 inners, 2 outers. So let's get busy. All right, so we've got this is a driver's side tie rod. You know, inner outer with the connector. Now remember, I did mark this outer and inner so I know which way it goes. I don't really think it makes a difference, but you know, whatever. So I'm going to take my pen, my paint marker, and I'm going to put some paint on those threads. Now this is the inner, so I'm going to find myself an inner tie rod. Look at that, got a little fancy thing to protect the threads on that. Pretty cool. I think I'm going to put some anti-seize on this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to line this up, double check. It's a little heftier, I ain't going to lie. Alright, and from what I understand, these are exactly the same from one side to the other, except for the one side is going to be reverse thread. This here, she's going to be a 1/2 incher. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Well, we know how to fix that, don't we? Turn some heat on it. Catch it on fire, just burn it. It's the best way to loosen anything up, just set it on fire. Alright, this is I'm going to hit my hand on the vise type situation here, I do believe. Alright, sometimes you got to be smarter than, you know, the stuff you're working on. At least try to be. So there, she's spinning out nice and easy now. We didn't really have to mark that because the dirt's kind of, you know, dirt and rust is kind of showing us where we need to go to. It was always better to be safe than sorry, you know. That's what I always say anyway. Alright, so now while we got this out, remember your safety glasses. Let's give her a wire wheel ride. Let's go ahead and line these up. Check out these threads. I'm just going to put an approximation mark right about there. So, and I'm going to break out some anti-seize, give her a little bit of the juice. Tight! There we go. Now she's spinning nice and easy. Ooh, man, didn't like me there for a second though, did it? Alright, so we're going to go to our approximation mark. I'll line that up like that. Call it good. Tighten this down just a little bit, but we may need to make some adjustments, some minor adjustments once we get it onto the vehicle. So I'm not going to go full bore on tightening this just yet. Alright, so we're a little snug, but we're not tightened all the way. So let's go ahead and pop this out. Again, do not tighten this too much. This is a hollow tube. You're going to smash it. So on this one, we need to remember that the L is the outer. So now let's give this one our approximation mark. Let's hit it with the old heat once again. Speaking of heated, it's hot down here today. It's muggy out, you know. Burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno. Are you gonna turn yet? No, still not going to. All right. I got penetrating oil for days here, fella. I got a whole nother thing of map gas. I ain't got nothing else to do. Burn, baby, burn. Disco. That thing's broken. Disco Inferno. Burn, baby, burn. There's no point in getting aggravated, guys. It just has to be done, so just take your time and do it. Burn, baby, burn. Nah, see, the whole thing's spinning because I don't want to put too much pressure on it. By the way, if you're smart, these sleeves are like $7 a piece. Brand new. You could just buy some. Save you a lot of time. I didn't buy them because I'm cheap, and I was like, well, I've already got them. Why would I buy them? Well, this is why. I gotta say, I am kind of enjoying this project. I am enjoying this project. Not necessarily over top of the Willys, but the fact that everything for this car is pretty readily available. But I'm not a huge Mustang fan. I like Mustangs, but I'm not a huge fan of them. I did like some years better than others, but let's try to get that where, right there. Maybe where I'm pushing on that clamp more. But anyway, yeah, I really like this Falcon though, and I'm not a huge Falcon fan. I'm just not. You know, the early Falcons I thought looked goofy. I apologize to anybody that owns one. Now I realize that I have a first generation Falcon, but the hardtop model, that's what I wanted. That's the one I think looks best. Well, Poopola, let's get some heat on it. Okay guys, so after much cussing, fighting, all that kind of fun stuff, luckily the camera died and, you know, I don't have to edit that out. Anyway, we got this side on. We got our outer tie rod end in. So these little grease fittings, zert fittings, whatever you want to call them, they are 7mm. A 7mm. Everything on this car takes a standard size. Do I look like the type of guy that owns a 7mm wrench? Exactly. So I do have plenty of speed wrenches though, and we're just going to speed wrench that thing right in there. Speed wrench doesn't care if it's metric or standard. Just don't care. This is like dead Falcon zone over here. This is getting ridiculous. I need to take a day and clean, but that's not going to happen for a while because I know me. There it is, which means I'm missing a cotter pin. You know, I've got a whole thing of cotter pins. I don't care. Well, don't do that. Do that. Oh, speed wrench. So anyway, that's probably not lined up at all, which is fine. That's fine for now. I'm going to wipe this off like this. I'm going to rub it. I'm going to stare into your eyes as I rub this. Okay. And then we're going to, I don't know what I did with it. Where'd it go? We're going to wire wheel action this bad boy. Ow. I didn't mean to wire wheel my hand. So this one is done except for, man, why is there, I sprayed so much penetrating oil, it's just everywhere. So we're going to come over here to the Hillbilly paint shop. Right now I got my license plate frame drying. It's dry. It's been here for about a week. I'm going to put this on the brake line hanger. Stay. Listen guys, I'm telling you right now, if you're not using the Duplicolor engine enamel with ceramic in it, I don't even know what you're doing with your life. I mean, this is literally the best paint for like chassis and stuff like that. It's freaking fantastic. I've used this, I picked up a new cam, but this is what I've used all up into my fender wells and stuff. I did use a little bit of rubberized undercoating, but not much. Mostly I'm using this stuff because it's great. It lasts forever. So, you know, you want to make sure to stir your paint up good. And then we're going to give her a good old spray job. I'm just spraying the shaft parts because everything else is new. So, you know, it's that kind of, I'm spraying right into my iced tea. What is going on? Now, as we let this dry, let's go ahead and grab the other side, which would be the passenger, I don't know, passenger side, I think. And yeah, we're gonna get it soaking in some penetrating oil. We got the strut rods in today. Woo! So over here I got my strut rod bushings. These are actually polyurethane. I'm not going to mention the company that sent these to me, strictly for the reason that my dealings with them didn't go well. I don't want to sway anybody else from using them. Let's just put it that way. I'm not gonna put down a company just because my dealings happen to not go great with them. So I'd rather just not mention their name at all. It makes things easier. So these bushings from Energy Suspension do fit right on there. I would imagine they're gonna go like that. We're gonna have to get up here underneath the car and check it out. But before we do that, I wanna figure out what size this this nut is, because I don't wanna be trying to wrangle that around while I'm out heating, you know what I'm saying. So here we are, we're down here in tight Spotville. What did I do with I lost my freaking bushings already. Oh, they're right behind me. I got them, don't worry. Got something in my mouth, don't worry. We're gonna come across, we're gonna feed up through here. Like show. So we're gonna line up with these two bolts, the two diagonal style there. Let's see that bushing out here. So put that bushing on, slide her up, and we'll put this bushing on. And we're just gonna go ahead and get that nut started and just kind of hold her in place. And we're gonna get these two bolts lined up. I want to, if I can find them, they went somewhere here, guys, I promise you. There they are. I can reach them, maybe. Maybe I can. Hold on. They're up here. I promise you. I'm working on it. Two bolts. Two nuts. All right. So I want to use some anti-seize on these. Go ahead and drop the first one into place. Put a little anti-seize on the next one, and it should fall right in. Okay. Now I just want to get the nuts started on these. Now what this does, the strut rod is what you use to set the camber on your vehicle. Your tie rod end links will set your toe. These will set your camber. And on these Falcons, I believe the proper camber isn't much. It's like 1 to 2 degrees. So it's a very small amount. This is something that, I'm going to have to get this thing aligned. There's just no way around it. But can I set it close enough from one side to the next where I don't have to get it aligned this weekend? Because it is coming up on the weekend and I'd like to, take her out. So what we'll do is we will measure our distance here and we'll set the same distance on the other side. I'm going to come back, I'm going to zip these down real quick. Now I read online, which we know is always correct, that the proper torque setting for these bolts is 35 to 40, I think it said. I don't know what's going on here, guys. 35 to 40 anyway. So I'm just going to put it right in the middle at 40. This is kind of awkward. It's kind of awkward to get to. Again, if y'all are watching this on Wade, he's way off on his torque specs. I don't know where he's getting his information. Well, Google is where I'm getting my information. But if I'm wrong, feel free to tell me. I obviously don't know. I don't have a manual for this thing. I should probably buy one. I'm upside down. I'm trying to do stuff. It just ain't working out in my favor, guys. Alright. Alright, so I'm going to go get this thingamabobby. I'm going to measure this distance. I'll probably, I don't know what I'm going to do. But, so I want to match this distance onto the other side is basically what I'm saying. So I'll probably tighten this down next. Alright, to access this, it's right up here on the front. First I got the light shining right in my eyeballs. Again, that is an 1 1/16 socket for those bolts, which is the same as what comes, off the other ones. Now, I don't know on the torque on these. I don't know if the torque is the same or if it's different. You know, here's where I just don't know, guys. 40 foot-pounds, sure, why not? Well, you know, but you got that rubber that's constantly moving, squishing. See, now that I'm looking at the old one, we are about where the old one was, as far as that, you know, where I moved that nut up to. So I don't know, we may be good. To be on the safe side, let's take her in for an alignment. We're gonna call that good. If I can I have my socket back? All right, so hopefully you guys can see. Now I believe these are 11/16. On these you have an L and an R. Your L is your outer, your R is your inner. We are going to, well, straighten these up first. Move this light, maybe you guys can see a little better what I'm getting into here. Alright guys, so I got the new tie rod for this side into position, and we're going to kind of do, once we get the other side done, we're going to kind of do a hillbilly alignment, at least until we can get it to the shop to get aligned properly. Alright guys, so we are, wow, you guys are way up there, aren't you? I mean, whatever, it doesn't matter. We're down, we're going to go around and we're going to hit the grease fittings. I think I only got a couple grease fittings now. Most of the newer stuff didn't have any grease fittings on it. Then we're going to slap tires on it. We'll take her out for a spin. Now, luckily, when I put the tie rods on, as you can see, my drum is sitting, I mean, you know, I could get a level out here, you know, a carpenter L, you know, one of those, but it's sitting pretty straight. My steering wheel's straight. Same on the other side. So we might be pretty good as far as, you know, driving it goes, but we'll only find out by driving it. So let me grease this up, let me throw the tires on. We'll go for a little spin. Let's get this thing out on the road. Alright guys, so we barely got any brakes. They're real spongy. We just noticed we had a coolant leak. So what do you say we throw it out on the road, see how she does. I mean, I always could just pull the steering wheel off and straighten it up. Major clunking, and there was some kind of clunking. I don't know what that was. Something's going on back there. So that noise there that you hear, I think the exhaust is rubbing against the drive shaft, so that's nothing that a clothes hanger won't fix, or a piece of TIG rod, one of the two. So brakes are real shoddy. She needs an alignment, but you know, she's actually not terrible. She's not real pulling either way, but we definitely got to bleed these brakes. They're bad. So listen guys, I'm going to finish this video by giving her a quick wash. I appreciate y'all watching. Make sure you subscribe to my socials and stuff, and love y'all. I'll see ya.